Wow, that is a rough transition. Hello. Hi, John.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm well. Happy election day.
Oh, shoot, that's today. I
How
in
did
the
you did not forget. You're
No,
playing.
no. I filled out the ballot, but I still have to take it to the drop off
Oh yeah.
thing. Yeah, it's like nearby, so I hope to do that today. Not that it really matters. I'm in San Francisco. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Office Hours. This is the America's Office Hours. We had one actually this morning. John, I don't know if you woke up but early to attend the APAC EMEA Office Hours, but we had one with
No.
Arlemy and Mina, one of our new developer advocates.
Ah, I
Yeah,
had a squad meeting with Mina, and she said she was going to be in office hours, and I said, "Well, I'm going to be there. Why are you going?" So I got confused. I didn't know
there's
there was
not
a.
enough room for the two of you. So
Nope.
they were covering the early session. I think they were talking about Kubernetes, like some really cool stuff. So I wonder what we'll talk about today. But my name is Joyce. I'm in developer relations based here in San Francisco. John, do you want to introduce yourself?
My name is John. I'm in Austin, Texas, and I'm a solution engineer for Postman.
Yeah, so you get a chance to talk with customers. I think you do some educational things too. Um,
Yeah.
what is a solutions engineer?
So if you think of it like other kind of terminology for that title, solution engineer, solution architect, some people also refer to as pre-sales or post-sales engineers. So we really talk to clients to get them excited about the application and kind of understand where they need to fit in at different license levels. If they got to have a feature, then we kind of steer them one direction. We educate them on best practices. But the best part of my job is I get to get feedback from our user base and take that to product to try to enhance and move that the product to be better and for everyone to use and just drive that product to be better in the future.
Yeah, so I started with Postman many moons ago. And before we hired solutions engineers, I remember going on some of these, well, at the time they were face-to-face meetings
Yeah.
or web meetings. And now we have solutions engineers. We have all these job titles that
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of before helping out with that. So that's pretty fun. So Manish is joining us from Periscope. We are actually streaming to 3 different platforms today. We are streaming to, hopefully I did it right and we're live and people are watching us. But we're streaming to Twitch, to YouTube, and to Periscope. I think it's called Periscope. But the fact that somebody asked, "Are we live?" makes me wonder if I did something wrong. Oh. Well, if anyone's watching, welcome to the Office Hours. It's slightly different format. So we stream every Thursday, basically. And then this is once a month. On Tuesdays, we do Office Hours, 2 sessions, as we mentioned earlier. This is your time to ask us questions. If you're looking for specific, like say you're working on homework questions or you're banging your head against the wall trying to get something done in Postman, log into whatever platform you're watching from and then ask your question in the chat. Otherwise, feel free to not log in and just look at our faces, just like watch us talk. We can show you a couple things in terms of demos, but also answer your specific questions. So, okay. So Manish is asking,
Yep.
let me go ahead and bring the comment here. Manish is saying, how can I engage with the Postman community? I am based out of Poland. John, do you know any people based in Poland?
I don't know, but who's to say there's not a big, robust Postman community there, because we're pretty covered worldwide. Yeah.
I was just trying to think if I know any specific customers or community folks that are in Poland that could be like, reach out to Manish and be like, show them the ropes. Let's see. So okay, this is a question for you, John. How do you become more engaged with the Postman community?
I think it's the URL is just community.postman.com. Just go there and be registered, log in, create an account, and then there's different forums you can post to. The one I always kind of hit the first time I go is just kind of like the newbie or what's new. Also, there's like a code of conduct, what's going on in there. So yeah, you're pulling it up now. There it is.
So it's at community.postman.com. This is our forum. It's a discourse forum. Which was the area that you like?
Just getting started is just, I just like seeing what kind of the new people are struggling with or what they're needing help with. And you can also always find out what Danny's up to because he's here all the time.
Yeah, this is Danny right here. See how he answers
Yep.
everyone's questions?
Yep.
So if you want to get, Manish, if your question is like, how can I get involved? There's many, many ways. This is people asking questions so that you can either help answer those questions, or you can show off, like, there's a bunch of topics here. You can show off like what's going on, like maybe you built something. It's so interesting. Like people build these things and then they share them and then people comment on them, is one way. There are some new programs. I wish I knew our marketing website better, but there are some new programs where you can make code contributions. Do you think I can find it?
Yeah, I'm sure you could.
Oh gosh. Let's see. Where would I go? Let me go to the footer. The footer is probably where I would go. How can I get involved with the community? There's this thing called community.
That
There's
I would
this
assume.
thing called like, okay, let me see what's here. That's like basically how to get support. Contributor program. Yeah.
Manish replied back, I'm one of the world's youngest MuleSoft administrators and looking forward to see you. One thing, I mean, Joyce, is it worth talking about what we're doing in the education space and what the badge you get, the actual certified class?
Well, okay, if you're the world's youngest MuleSoft ambassador,
True.
does that imply that you are a student?
Student, yeah. That's my kind of what I was leaning to.
So Hannah's been a guest and she's been a host on this live stream several times. So let me show you some of the programs that she's been involved with. There's this contributor program where you can, well, actually, let's just click through. I'd like to talk about what it is. But there's a lot of open source projects. Our docs are open source. And if you make a code contribution like, oh, this part of the docs doesn't quite make sense, let me rewrite it or let me fix a broken link or whatever, you can actually get some, I think you get Postman swag. You get a little thank you. There's a bunch of open source projects. There's a guest blogger program so that you can, you know, I think we just had one. Let me go to our blog. Postman.com. Yeah, this one's from Orist. Orist is one of our community champions. This is Orist, who is a Ukrainian transplant in Ohio, I believe.
Wow.
Writing this cool thing about the visualizer. He created this template, and then he wrote a blog post about it. So a lot of things you could do.
That was awesome. The map, what is that showing?
It's a heat map using D3. Oh gosh, I hate D3. I mean, I love it, but it's so hard to get. So it's people like Orist that, let's see if I can find this one. It's called Visualizer Feature Template. It's templates and it's 19 requests. I bet there's, that's a link to the blog post. So if you're interested, say you're like, oh my gosh, there's D3, but I don't know how to use it, but I would love to do exactly what Orist is doing. If I go to Postman, I can go to New and over to Templates. And if I search for Visualizer, what was it called?
His heat map one?
Yeah. I have to, so there's a lot of visualizers, but say like D3 was here somewhere, I could actually pull in his code and then just stub it out and then update my own data source, my own logic and that kind of stuff. All right, so we have another question here from Gravnos calling in from YouTube. Is there a hotkey to quickly swap out a variable value? It's a bit of a pain hitting the eyeball and hunting for each variable to update it. So the question, let me show you about the pain part of hitting the eyeball and hunting for each variable to update. Oh, there is a new thing.
Is he speaking about just
well, you're assuming that it's a he, Gravnos.
Oh, yeah, true. I'm sorry. Are they talking about within the test tab or within the environmental variables? Or I guess it could be anywhere because it could be a collection variable as well.
Well, John, that's a really good point. So some people don't know. So I'm just going to load up a request here. So Gravnos, clarify, John is asking, are you thinking of updating the variable in one of the JavaScript areas or one of the text editor areas? Because there's a little bit of a different syntax for the variables. So like if I wanted to set a variable here, I can access it with double curly braces. because I'm in the text editor. But if I'm in one of the JavaScript areas, obviously I have to access it by like that. So graph notes clarify your specific use case. But otherwise, if I'm trying to update, if I'm not programmatically updating, or I'm not like setting it by using double curly braces, this is the eyeball. I hope I don't, oh, good. Okay, so the eyeball, I can sit here and edit key values too.
Why couldn't you do that through the Postman API? You did mention if you're not, programmatically challenged.
Yeah, so Grabnos is clarifying that it's inside the request value, not the JavaScript area. And Chris is thinking that maybe they're talking about environment variables in the request value. Blah, blah, blah. The JavaScript area I found super easily with y'all's docs. Ooh, shout out for the docs. Docs team. Shout out for updating variables in the scripting areas, but Gravnos is specifically talking about updating the variable here. And I don't know if you saw it, Gravnos. It's fairly new. It probably came out within the last month, but it's not a hotkey. I think he's there looking for a keyboard shortcut, but there is this new functionality. John, I don't know if you've seen this, but this little, it's kind of hard to see with dark mode. Should I switch from dark mode?
Yeah, that's fine. So so you can actually highlight that value and then set it as a variable.
You can set it as a variable, and then to get a variable, there's autocomplete.
Yeah, I've seen the autocomplete.
But they're talking about
find and replace, I believe. Swap out a variable value.
Yeah. That's interesting. So if I'm here and say this is, say I go here and I'm like, bloop, bloop, it's this thing. That one's to encode and decode. I can set it, but I can't edit it. That's kind of interesting. So it sounds like the use case is to edit a variable in the text.
Yeah. Programmatically, I think you could do it through the Postman API just to get and set those if you knew them. But again, like I mentioned, programmatically, yeah, depends if you want to get that far.
Oh, we got another solutions and chiming in. Postman on the web is interesting for this. You can command or control F your environment variable list more quickly. Oh, Matt is trying to push me to the web, which I think I'm logged in as something that is going to reveal some secrets. Oof. And then Postman has a lot of power to do, but we require more digital community engagements. More community engagements. So Gravnos, thank you, Arlemy, for chiming in to help us with your trolling. So I'm going to go back to Matt's comment because Postman on the web is relatively new. I wonder if I can show you. Let me pull it up on a separate screen and then drag it over because that shouldn't be a problem. So what I'm doing is I'm going to postman.com.
Yep.
And here, I can show you that part.
Yeah, it should just know your team, what you're on, and let you log in or go to kind of the marketing.
Yeah, so if you see this, that means you're logged in already. But I think I'm logged in as a private secret team, so I don't want to show that on this stream. Can you guys see that? Let me zoom in a scotch. You'll see a sign in, login, sign up, login. Let me go ahead and switch over. Okay, so hopefully Matt Ball wasn't lying. And you see this other tab. Let me go ahead and drag it in here just to keep it clean. So Postman on the web is something that Matt was talking about. And that is, Postman's always had a web presence. There's a lot of areas where you can access your information, like check out your monitors, check out your documentation. And you can see that I'm logged into this sample account. This is my avatar right here. I can access my team stuff. This is the Postman on the web part that Matt's foreshadowing. Not foreshadowing, we've announced it and a lot of people have used it. But I click the build and all of a sudden it looks just like Postman in the Electron app, except I'm Postman in my Chrome web browser. So what was he saying? You can Command Control F your environment variable list more quickly in a text area. John, do you know what he's saying?
So in the top right, near where your environments are,
yeah,
if you open, or you have anything, a private key in there or anything that you don't want to expose?
Probably.
I think he's saying you can control F within there.
In the eyeball?
Well, hit the, are you in your specific environment? Or hit the edit. If you open and manage environments, modal, not just the eye. Yeah.
If you open the manage environments.
Yep, that one. Now click one of your Hue proxy.
And so you mean, is he just saying go into an environment and Command F?
I believe so.
Well, that's not.
Now Control F.
Well, I'm just doing. Oh, he's just talking about the basic web way to search something. Gravnos was asking about a way to easily set variables. There's many ways to skin this cat.
Yeah.
How long do you think it'll be before I reveal a secret, John?
What are we, 20 minutes in? Probably you got another 20 minutes.
Hi there, Villas. Thanks for joining us. If anybody has any questions, this is office hours. I'm Joyce. I'm sitting here with John, and we are just jibber-jabbering and taking questions. All right, here's another question.
Vector Null, are there any courses that you recommend for anyone who wants a deep dive into testing APIs with Postman? And thank you for doing this. Any courses? I think when I first started learning Postman, just to learn the layout of the land, I watched all of your videos, Joyce. And also
my videos? YouTube?
And the PostCon videos too. So those were very helpful.
Okay, so for the remainder of this live stream, we'll just sit here and watch some YouTube videos. Yep. But, oh, look, this is live now. This is our thing right here. Oh. So if I go to, I don't want to reveal anything. Okay, so I'm just going to go to the Postman channel. I'll go ahead and drop a link here. YouTube is, people love our YouTube. And then there's other people that have YouTube channels about Postman stuff. So, John, you were saying the
PostCon, I think Valentine's videos were helpful. I watched several of those, as well as yours. I'm trying to think who other guest authors or speakers were.
About testing in particular, Valentine's got really highly rated.
Yeah.
Oh, here's like a workshop on testing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to recommend, because I just watched it the other day. Oh, this is a great one. It's a great one because I was in it too. Hold on, let me find it. Let's look for continuous. Yeah, continuous testing webinar.
Oh, it's Trent. Nice.
Yeah. So this is here's I'm just dropping random links. Hopefully people understand what they are. But this is a continuous testing webinar. So I believe, let's see, who was it asking? Vector Null was talking about deep dive. This is not an intro to testing. If you're brand new to testing, this is probably a little too advanced. But if you already know what a test is in Postman, you can go here and see what is the next step. Oh my gosh, there's so many comments. John, I'm missing.
Okay. Yeah, I think Grabnos elaborated and said, if there is not a way to quickly swap out a variable value, is there a way to organize the environment variables by alphabet or anything else? Sorry for the odd question. So yeah, I've seen, even in the demo I watched today with one of our evangelists, Ken, he likes environmental variables, and that list was just long and long and long. It would be good to have a sorting mechanism in there, or to favorite with the star that we do on collections. So if you open up any of one of those, if you have a lot of values in there, there's not really a good sort or find within there. I can definitely take that back to our product team and see if there isn't already a feature request to build that in.
Yeah, because you can drag and drop, but it's not like you can filter by alphabetical or something like that.
Yeah.
I only have 2 in here, but imagine you have 50. That would be kind of annoying. But there was a question from Manish. Is there any free plan to set up web Postman? Yeah, so the Postman in the web is a free, it's just a different platform. So it's a different client. You're accessing Postman through the web instead of the Electron app. So it's free. Go ahead and sign up. Manish.
And Grabnos, I've written down your question. I will take that back and make a feature request if there isn't one already out there.
I love these office hours. I hate working on one thing for the entire time, but people are just peppering their questions fast, and it's more fun for us that way. Well, it's probably hard to follow along, but anyways, I like it. But there is something coming. We can't show you anything, Gravnos, but there is going to be an enhancement to the environment UX, user experience. I'm not sure. I don't think they'll have the sort or the filter. They might have a filter. I don't remember exactly how they're planning on handling, but there are some enhancements coming up with environment management.
Yeah, I've been seeing that there's enhanced search on it, specifically in the documentation. I'm curious if that's going to roll over to some of the other parts of the application.
Oh yeah, they're doing big things with search in yeah. All right, another question from Gravnos.
Yeah, go ahead, Joyce.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Ravnos, is there a way you prefer to handle the variables? Maybe I'm doing this in a bulkier style than is needed. Sorry, last questions. Y'all have been great. Are you taking advantage? So Gravnos, there's different scopes of variables. There's environmental variables, collections, local, and you can manage variables in different scopes of the collections you have. I don't know exactly your use case if everything needs to be an environment. But that's one thing we see is, I see the abuse of environmental variables, really not an abuse, but an overabundance of them when things could be maintained and managed perhaps in collections or folders or anywhere else. So if you do variable scope, there's a great graphic of the boxes. Keep going, there it is. So that's the different variables that we support in the scopes they have and what takes precedence.
Yeah, I always get questions about collection variables was released later than environment variables. So people always ask, why would you use a collection variable instead of an environment variable? I bet you get that question a lot too.
I do.
Now that you've taken a drink, will you tell us an answer?
I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is or when there is a right or wrong answer. There's some people who've set up their APIs and collections that they need to change out something for a collection. Let's say if you had an environmental variable where you're using the URL, the base URL for the actual dev or production URL, you want to maintain those in the environments. But if you have at a collection level, maybe on production, it's V1 or V2, where in development, I guess that wouldn't make sense. You could just maintain them there. Yeah, maybe you have just different collections, different versions.
Yeah. So,
but you can also, go ahead.
Well, a lot of people know about environment variables. That's one of the first variable types that people learn. And it makes sense because you're maybe applying it to a different server config. It's a different server environment. So like that's maybe why we call it environment. But all these other types of scopes, the global scope, the global variables are available at the workspace level. Then you have the collection that's coupled tightly with the collection. So if you have something that only should exist because of the collection, make it a collection variable. Yeah. If the environment works with this collection, but maybe it works with other collections, it's portable. So create an environment variable. Then there's like data variables where you can like loop through an external file. And then the local variable, I think most people are confused about. Those are ephemeral and they only live in the course, their lifespan. They're like those flies that live for like 15 hours, but local variables only live throughout the duration of a collection run. So pick your poison. There's lots of different scopes, as John mentioned, and there's reasons why people choose to use different scopes. Was that even the question? I feel like we're just like,
I think we just
talked
about just handling variables. And I think that paper does a great write-up on better understanding variables as they're used in Postman.
Choosing variables.
Yeah.
Oh, there's this huge like diagram with like layers of a pie, scope, sliding scale. It's good docs. All right. So if you've just joined us for office hours, welcome, welcome. Go ahead and log in to Twitch, YouTube, or Periscope. I don't actually know how Periscope works, but go ahead and log in and ask your questions in the chat. It's first come, first served. Otherwise, we could talk more about the election.
I think there's enough talking heads talking about the elections. They don't want to hear our opinions. Yeah.
I felt like I was playing SimCity. I opened my envelope yesterday and I was like, if you've ever played SimCity, where it's like, your taxpayers want this much money for this thing. Do you accept?
Oh, like the bonds. Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, Arlemy is French, living in London, and Arlemy wants to talk about U.S. elections, I believe. Nope.
Nope. What about it in case you missed it?
In case you missed it. Do you have anything for in case you missed it? So typically during our Thursday streams, we have a separate segment talking about feature releases or stuff that we might have missed. Do you have anything, John?
The only one I have is because it was brought to my attention today that Postman has now hired Bruno is now hired as a senior product management in charge of the Postman API. So I just want to welcome him on board and say welcome. And there's a lot of requests that the community and myself have about the Postman API.
Yeah. So what is the official title of that new person we hired, Bruno?
Senior product manager responsible for the Postman API.
Yeah. So Postman has an API, and a lot of people, I think sometimes they just don't think about it, but we do have an API. It's at api.postman.com.
Okay, so I always do this, but now it redirects to documenter.postman. Whatever the URL is. But it's easier to remember api.postman.com.
Oh, yeah. So we can drop a link to this, but This is look, if I expand it, I'm like, okay, I can get all my collections. I can potentially loop through a collection and update all my variables. I think you were suggesting that to Gravnos as a solution too.
Yeah, so within, you have the whole endpoint folder there where you can, I believe, do any CRUD operations on the environments once you have the environment UID.
So I'll tell you a dirty little secret, only because I see that this is just an intimate, no one else is watching, this is not being recorded. Dirty little secret is that just like a lot of companies, the API, the interface with the user is just an afterthought. You build out your service and then you tack on an API, and that is not API first. Shame, shame. It's not API first. And so Postman is walking the talk, talking the walk, putting their money where their mouth is, like whatever that analogy is.
We're eating the dog food.
We're eating our dog food so that we actually treat our API as a product. It's to be consumed. It's a separate product, and let's put some focus behind it. So that's what I got out of Bruno being hired. That's cool.
Yeah. There's been a lot of internal rumblings, for lack of a better term, between solutions engineers as well as DevRel about our API, and it doesn't handle the functionality that we get from the app in all cases, or just in some cases. But you can't do everything you want with the API. So we're trying to build the Postman API to be world-class, and in Postman itself, we need to be API first thinking. So actually one of our coworkers has built out the schema for the Postman API already. So here's a shout out right there I can give to Kevin Swiber for doing that.
Has built the what?
The API schema for our own API. So yeah.
Is that in the Postman Labs org, GitHub org?
I believe so. I think it's just needs to be signed off for release, but that should be coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Got it. Cool. Yeah. All right. So we have Gravnos. Feel free to spin up more questions about the election. Arlemy, I think, is quoting Bible scripture. Not sure what's going on there. Manish is asking, is there any planned date for live in future?
I am not sure. I'll follow that one.
Manish, tell us more about what you're talking about. Or do we have any updates coming for software release? Lord, I don't understand. So what's funny about Restream takes emojis and then puts translates it. So what I see is on Twitch is like an anime character, Lord Postman, but it's Concha Lord Postman. I don't understand. Doesn't translate.
Okay.
So what is planned, back to Manisha's question, is there any planned date for live in future? Are you talking about the conference? So the conference that we have has actually been rescheduled. So I think I'm just clicking on all these tabs. Let me go ahead and go to our Galaxy page. But if you're talking about live, that is It's been rescheduled. So we do have a Postman conference. It's going to be kind of a big deal, all virtual conference going on February 2nd to the 4th. Arlemy has posted resident sleeper. I don't know these emotes. The same program, you people are live on digital media. So this is a live event. We stream this office hours once a month. We also have a weekly stream on Thursdays typically where we hack on something, we build something together. It's a little bit more codeful than just Q&A. Let's see. Ooh, question. Do you want to read this one?
Sure. Is there, from Binary Rain, is there a way to figure out what kind of feed a website has in order to center my code and webhook around it? Binary Rain, I came up with a question from a user asking us about status.postman.com. So Joyce, can you pull that up real quick? And please let me know if this is kind of where you're going with this. So status.postman.com or any kind of SaaS company gives you the overall health of what their APIs are going on right now. So I think we use an Atlassian product, but if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's a way to, it's at the bottom or the top. There's an RSS feed. You can pull this into your own notification system. And someone asked if there was a webhook way around to do this because they wanted to display it in Slack. But the workaround we had was Slack accepts RSS feeds. So I believe there is not a webhook for this right now. But Binary Rain, let me know if this is what you were thinking about.
Yeah, Binary Rain, give us more details about your question or about your use case. A lot of potential ways to address that question. In the meantime, Anyup, I want more examples on Postman for API defined development and holistic service examples. Oh, John, I think you wanted to talk about this anyways, right?
Yeah, so one of the quick, or I guess recent releases we had for Postman is the API Builder tab. So right by the collections, you can hit the API tab there and import API schemas, and we're supporting API 3.0, OpenAPI 3.0, 2.0, 1.0, RAML, GraphQL. And then you can pull that in and then derive collections from that. So obviously, Postman, the base kind of atomic unit are collections. So people are using collections. But to become API first, we are trying to support the OpenAPI schema and that community more so there's one definitive source of truth.
Yeah, so that's if you're defining your API from a specification file, one of these common formats. But you can also, other people will also define an API in a collection just as a lightweight way to sketch out their like CRUD endpoints and that kind of thing. So Anyup, if you have any follow-up questions about the types of examples that you want to see, I think you're asking about holistic service examples, like just more broad API lifecycle. And if you think about the lifecycle, John was talking about the define. Once you define an API according to one of these formats, you can go ahead and generate documentation. You can generate tests. You can generate monitors or observability. Yeah. So we have a very good, let's see. Let me pull up the webinar page real quick. What was it called, I wonder? Oh gosh,
I assume Kin would probably have done that one.
Yeah, so Kin had a 3-part series on enterprise APIs, but this one's pretty good too. I'm pretty sure this is, I'll drop a link to this. And Anya, if you can take a look at some of the webinars that we've had around this, and then also sign up. I think there's a way to kind of sign up to receive notifications about these upcoming webinars, but this one's about governance specifically around as it relates to API definitions. Oh my gosh, so many questions. Okay, open-ended.
Yeah, the one other thing I was going to say about the API schema and the API Builder tab is also it will do we're supporting a two-way sync back to GitHub. So if you're maintaining your specification in GitHub and that's being derived from some other backend, that can flow down and be populated and pulled into Postman. And it goes the reverse way too. So if you wanted to edit the schema here, and there's validation rules in here, it can go back upstream into your GitHub repo.
Yeah, two-way sync, two-way.
Two-way.
Okay.
Where were we?
Gravnos.
This is a very open-ended question, but I was curious in what ways y'all have seen people use Postman for security testing, such as XSS, cross-site scripting, and insecure direct object references.
Oh, yeah. So I feel like somebody wrote a really good collection. I wrote a collection that was like, okay, but somebody wrote a good collection and I can't remember the name of it. Well, I'll show you my thing, but it's not. John, if you have ideas or if any Postman people are in the audience that want to.
This is where I would knock on Amir's door and ask him. He's on our security team. Oh, you're going out to Medium.
Yeah, no, I wrote this. Let me just see if this one has it. Nope. Dang it. We do have, so like what I would do is I would actually go here. I'm pretty sure I don't have the searching skills, but previously we went here to new. We tabbed over to templates to find Orist's visualizer template. But I would say like, is there something on security? Here's like an audit. Here's some security APIs. Have other people come up with like a whole list of cool SQL injections.
That you could actually test against or use to test.
Me and Arlemy had a live stream on the big list of naughty strings. So in the security, unfortunately, actually, wait, is there a security one here? SecOps. Yeah, so SecOps has a couple templates that you can take a look at. I wish I was in the web now so I could drop a link to this filtered request. See, that's the good thing about the Postman in the web. I can drop a link to it. Okay, let's move on to the next one. And if anybody has any security resources, go ahead and drop them in the chat for Gravnos. All right, moving on to vector null. What specific skills would you recommend someone have if they want to be a developer at Postman? It's been a dream to work. Let me drop a link to the careers page. John, you take it.
Specific skills to be a developer. On our team, ever since Postman in the web has come about, JavaScript is the big language that everybody's using. And then also QA careers are always needed in our team. What else? Content writers. Yeah.
Yeah. So for our product, Postman, the product, we are Node backend. We have sales, Sales.js, JavaScript, of course, WebSockets. I'm just like naming things. Yeah. No, I'm not reading anything. We could probably look at like a job description somewhere, but go ahead and check out that. Okay, where am I? Where are we?
Arlemy said React.
Get to it. Okay. All right.
Where are we?
Binary rain.
I've lost my. Where am I? Yeah.
I'm a beginner to code, and I'm working on making a webhook trigger using the Zapier RSS feed engine. However, I often struggle with finding what kind of feed a website uses. So the Zapier RSS feed.
Could you inspect the website in the console and see what's coming through the network tab? I mean, is that kind of where we're going on that?
Is that how it works?
If you go to inspect and you have the network tab.
I'm on the network tab.
Oh, and then just refresh the page. And now you can just do a Control F and search for like whatever resource extension like RSS and see if anything's being pulled in. I think this is, yeah.
So it's a RSS web page question?
Yeah, I'm trying to see the question in the.
I have it highlighted.
Oh.
They're making a webhook trigger in Zapier. So binary rain, it sounds like you're trying to potentially scrape a site or get the feed from a site so that you can then take some action on the Zapier platform. This is how much I know about RSS. I would actually scrape the site and see what changes.
Yeah.
Which you can do with Cheerio. One of the inbuilt libraries.
Oh, within the Postman.
Yeah, I would hack it. I'm sure there's a more elegant way to do this, and I'm sure there's tools out there that would allow you to do it, but I would hack it. Okay. All right. Question from Manish. How do you guys spend time during COVID-19 lockdown? Is there still fear of coronavirus?
Joyce, how's San Francisco?
San Francisco numbers are great. I've been in quarantine since pandemic started, but I did just talk to somebody in Bangalore who was saying that it's not such a big deal. It's kind of like,
wow,
which I would think given the population density and like the potential for hospitals getting overrun, I'm afraid. I wear my mask very diligently when I walk my dog outside. I haven't been going to restaurants. Let's stay on topic. Yeah. API security testing. Vector Null is pointing out an article from Optiv. Finally we get to Arlemy saying, yes, React is a skill. It's React front end. Anything JavaScript. We're very JavaScripty. And we're very HTTP centric too, currently. So we have, and our friend Turk is here. Hi, Turk. Thanks for joining us. If anybody in the chat room has deep thoughts about RSS feed, please go ahead and chime in. Hey, Turk, I have a question for you. What is your favorite, and like, be honest here. What is your favorite Postman feature? You have to be honest. So we're waiting for Turk's favorite Postman feature. John, do you have one?
I like the in-app comments. I mean, a lot of people don't know about this. You can now make comments in the collaboration as a collaboration feature.
Do you use it?
I do when I'm doing demos and just need to point out something to someone. I'll just tag them in that. And it's usually, they'll get that notification pretty quickly. And as I'm doing the demo, they'll respond back. And it's kind of like, oh, notify or scary, like, oh, sorry, I didn't need to bother you, Matt or whoever it was.
Yeah. So you can drop the comments here like this, and you can tag people like Arla Meow's on my team so I can like provide feedback on it, and then they can reply. But do the notifications come up here?
I will get them through my email that said someone hit you up, or someone mentioned you in a comment. Please respond.
So Turk says that their favorite feature is not yet in Postman. That's very, very mysterious. And Arlemy is saying RSS feed plus iGoogle was cool. Do you know what iGoogle is?
It might have been, I saw someone put a post in our Slack channel about all the Google products that have died. I think iGoogle might have been one of them.
I've never heard of iGoogle. Should I Google it?
Should I Google iGoogle? That's kind of meta.
Portal. Ajax-based start page. Well, this is a rabbit hole.
Personalized homepage. So you could just drop in widgets in RSS feed, so you kind of could have different feeds in there.
Oh.
I think it might have gone away. I don't know. Look at that.
What?
You've got your own links there and your weather app and your CNN. There you go.
So it's like configurable. It's like a drag and drop feed.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. You can specify how much space and what. It's a widget container or widget manager.
Judging by this UI, I'm guessing they don't support this anymore.
Yeah, that's very bloggers listed in there. So I don't even think bloggers are around.
So Manish is saying that their favorite feature is RAML 1.0 support and the endpoint automatically ready. So if I recall correctly, Manish, you're from MuleSoft, so of course you like RAML. MuleSoft was part of the RAML creators, I want to say.
Mm-hmm. And so Swagger, which is 2.0.
And they what?
I think they also came out with Swagger.
Tony Tam came up with Swagger, and then that was acquired by, I believe, Smart Bear.
Smart Bear, MuleSoft. Yeah, so many animals.
Mule and bear, yeah. So Manish is talking about like earlier. oh gosh, earlier John was talking about this area where you can pull in the RAML specification file, but you can also ad hoc import here. Oh, let's talk about this. I feel like I remember Arlemi's favorite feature. We can go over it again, but you can also go ahead and drop it here. And people do ask us about SOAP or like WSDL files, and we don't have WSDL support, but all these other formats. And then we have raw text. You can go ahead and pull in curls. That's Arlemi's favorite.
Oh.
OAS. So Manisha's saying MuleSoft is also involved with OAS v3. So a ton of companies coming together to kind of say, hey guys, let's have some standardization around our API specifications. Let's work together kind of stuff. Wait, what is this new thing? Okay, I haven't seen this, or maybe I have seen it and I just don't remember. Do you know what?
No, if you hit code repository, what does it say? Is it actually, Postman will automatically scan and select the branches for you to update.
Yeah, so you can actually back up a collection to to GitHub. You can back it up to anything really, but there's an inbuilt integration.
It's integrations, yeah. So we support Bitbucket, GitLab, GitHub as backing up integrations, but I didn't know this was available to import.
It's new.
But is it specific to, it's importing on, okay, interesting.
So it sounds like this will automatically scan for all importable files, a Postman collection, an open API file, I'm guessing. We can test it out if you have a repo that has all of these things.
Go to can we just go, I'm trying to think if pet store is available. Let me see if I can find a GitHub URL that has something that's not awful.
Look, we learned something new too. Okay, while John looks for a repo that has multiple API or Postman collection files, we have about 10 minutes left in this office hours. Thank you very much for coming to hang out with us. This is a very welcome part of my day. If you want to ask your questions or you want to see maybe like a demo or just kind of like talk about some features, go ahead and log in and ask your question. I'll go ahead and blow my nose while you all do that.
I'm going to post specification in the Twitch room to see if you can import that.
Import that. All right. So you sent me.
That's an Open API specification for the Union Fashion, which is a fictitious company that we built to demo with.
Oh, no, I'm going to reveal something, aren't I?
No.
Oh.
Are you concerned about your keys?
About everyone's keys. I'm like a super admin for Postman.
Oh.
I don't know what to do. So this is, okay, here's the thing. I'm connecting to GitHub and I can't connect. I have to authorize Postman. Let me describe to you with words what I'm seeing on a separate monitor. Okay. I need to authorize to Postman my own organizations or files. So I would have to
log into GitHub. Yeah.
Auth to mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
How long will Postman be having these office hours? We have 9 more minutes. So go ahead and ask your question, Fruit Punch Samurai. But if you have any questions.
They're asking on the cadence. We're having these and Vector and Roll asked the same question. It's every other week or no, it's every Tuesday.
It's every month. So it's the first Tuesday of every month. We typically let people know. I mean, obviously, like I don't understand how this works, but if you're on Twitch, go ahead and not subscribe. Go ahead and follow us on Twitch. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and whatever the word is, subscribe. Just go ahead and follow us, and then you'll be notified the first Tuesday of every month. So this is a good time for you to ask your questions if you're stuck on something, but also we let people that are new to Postman, people who have never, they just downloaded the app. They might have just gone to Postman 101 webinar. And Arlemi is saying, trigger the bell to get notified. smash that like button, click subscribe if you like this content. But I will let you know the Postman 101, we were on the webinars page earlier. I'll show you that. That's pretty neat too. So Postman 101 for developers, we have once a month, and that's a very structured kind of gentle introduction to Postman. We have a couple of different ones, Postman 101 for admins, Postman 101 for developers. I think we have APIs 101 at a certain cadence too. But shortly after Postman 101, we do have these monthly office hours and people just stop by. You can always stop by to say hi. I actually like seeing some of the same people week after week. It makes me feel like I have friends because I'm in quarantine and I don't get to see very many people. So it kind of warms my heart. But the other side of it is you guys get to have your questions answered too.
It's about the only time I get to talk to Arlemy about politics. Well, yeah.
All right, so we got 7 minutes left. Feel free to log in, ask your questions, or we can also just talk. John, did you want to talk about anything? You had said about the API builder. You wanted to check that out. Was there anything specifically you wanted to take a tour of?
One thing I would love to demo or ask the audience if they have any feedback or if they're using in our squad meetings, I represent the API network, and the private API network is a feature I'm often trying to see how the community is using it.
Oh, yeah.
And if we could show that, or if anyone out there is using that and would love to comment on it, or if I could just get more people's eyes on it to see, like, what do you love about this? What's wrong about it? So
yeah, let's talk people through it, and then we can get people's reflections. So that's relatively new.
Yeah, so if you just go to explore.postman.com.
So I'm in the Postman for web, and I'm logged in. I initially hit the build, but now I'm going to hit explore.
And then in the top left, you're going to see you're the Union Fashion team. So that represents your team. So by opening that up, you can see that the documentation specific for your team is published and available, where they can search and discover any of the APIs and or documentation for that.
Yeah, so you have the public network, which is near where we went earlier, where we were looking for templates and visualizer and security templates. But then this one has a little lock on it. And so this is the private one. And here are my API specifications that I was using for this demo team. But you might have like hundreds of them if you're like a really big company into API first.
Yeah, so we hear, people who are developing internal APIs that can't be exposed outside to everyone else. This is where they're coming to share that documentation and information within their organization.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Last 5 minutes. Let's get through these questions. Fruit Punch Samurai is asking about Postman, Newman, best practices from CI/CD. If you have multiple collections and you want to trigger with Newman, is the best practice to run multiple Newman commands?
I believe there's an async flag you can put on there, so you can have multiple collection runs going at the same time.
So Fruit Punch Samurai is asking about Newman, open source command line tool. It's very, very popular. You can see a bunch of people have starred and forked it, but this is how you can run collections from the command line or from a continuous integration environment. And it's a node package, so you can actually require it into a script and use Newman. And you were saying there's an async function?
Yeah, so if you just search when an asynchronous error happens, search, is that the only instance of it? I thought there was a flag that lets you specify the run was asynchronous.
I think there is a syntax for that. I will go to one blog post from a while back. This one.
Yeah.
This one uses AWS Lambda to run concurrent functions with Newman. So there is a little bit of a level of parallelism that you can achieve with Newman if it's within a script. But if you want to do something like stress testing or load testing, here's some code samples to show you how to do that. So Newman is, as I mentioned, a node package. There's also a Docker image for it. So if you wanted to build your own environment and control exactly how you're running Maybe you want some logic in between collection runs, or you just want to go bam, 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 run them all. Or maybe you don't care about parallelism or concurrency and you want sequential. So you can use a script, correct, Fruit Punch Samurai.
Yeah.
Yes. And maybe the last question before we go to community shoutouts, is there any Postman certification for developer or architect?
Is the certification that, well, I guess that's just for students right now, right? Or Sue is working on one.
Yeah, so there's a student certification. For working professionals, we don't currently have a certification. There is training. There's a lot of external training. A lot of good people in the community create training programs. We do have training offered as part of our Galaxy workshop, but it's not a certification. We don't currently have an official certification for dev or architect. All right, so we got 2 minutes left, John, and we always end our sessions together with community shoutouts. You got any for me today? I only have one.
I would just give a shout out again to, I mentioned Kevin earlier for writing that conversion from collection to the schema. That's been very helpful, and I'm going to talk to him in a bit about that. So yeah, thanks, Kevin.
From collections to schema, I think, yes. One of the previous live streams, he posted a link to that. So if we can get a link, we can post it here in the chat, but I don't know what it is off the top of my head, or I don't know. It's probably on Kevin's personal.
In his GitHub repo, I do know I have it open in one of the 1,000 tabs I have open in my.
Okay, well, it's out there, just so you know.
Yeah.
I have one shout out, and it's for me.
There you go.
But it's because I have repetitive conversations with people. Not that I don't like them, but I wrote this blog post, and I don't want to send a link to this blog post. I want to send a link to the collection. I think this is pretty rad. I wrote a blog post here on blog.postman.com in the web, but I also wrote this. We're going to go to the documenter. It's the same content, but examples, interactive examples. So if I'm like, keep it dry with variables, I really care about variables. Here's 3 examples that when I pull it into Postman, I can pull it into the web and see that view, the Postman for web, or I can pull it into, like I'm on a Windows machine, so I can pull it into my Electron version of Postman. And I can go ahead and interact with, like, we literally talked about this earlier today, consider variable scopes, right?
Yep.
And I can walk through all the examples that I have in there. So this is our documentation, and I just wrote the blog post as a documentation. And people are always like, how can I make my collection better? This talks through like 9 things that you can do to make your collection better. So check that out. Shout out to me.
Way to go. Pat on the back.
Is there anything else you wanted to talk about before we say goodbye for the rest of the day?
No, just everybody stay calm, relax, be with your friends and family today, and I guess we'll see you soon.
Be good to each other.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Goodbye. Thanks for joining us. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Thanks, everyone.